related, and we live by the street rules that thugs created. Clowns get smoked, about 1,000 folks are selling pounds of coke, front in this town and get a text stuck down your throat. I'm telling you, shit is about to get drastic soon. I'm quick to blast a goon and break a motherfucker like a plastic spoon. I got the looks to make your hottie stare. I keep a shotty near. It's that nigga with naughty hair who got him fear. Tracks I'm known to roast until the microphone is ghost. Props I own the most. I'm leaving niggas comatose. Run and get your brain pinched. Big L, I have your whole gang lynched. I started smoking dust and been insane since. This rap shit was a great gift. The other night some snake riffed and got a hot lead facelift. All through high school I had braids, I kept mad blades. Stabbing teachers to death, they gave me bad grades. I cooked the mic like a beef steak, cause my technique's great. And I'm the nigga police hate in each state, cause I'm the neighborhood lamper. Punk brother vamper, fuck around, you find my silk boxes in your mother's hamper. Cops drop when my Glock makes the pow sound. I'm from a wild town, you know my style, clown, so bow down. Word up.
Say what? Say
95
what?
style. I got my man Jay-Z here.
Jay-Z. Boy,
Step
how
up
you
to the
be?
mic.
Step up to the
Word up, the single's called Put It On. It's in stores right now. Produced by my man Buck Wow. And the chorus got Kid Capri. It got an LG remix, which you heard a little while ago. Word up.
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
Just wondering if that was a condom endorsement.
Oh, nah.
Yo, we also got the Graveyard, right? That's coming up next. With Jay-Z on it. But we got Jay-Z in the place. What's up, baby?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
I just came about that hectic party, man, down at the city, man. That shit was hectic, man. Cops in there with shotguns and all that.
Yeah.
And that was an R&B party, man, you know?
Yeah.
So
I'm the plague is everywhere.
It was probably Reef.
Yeah, it's probably man Daddy Reef, yeah. Yo, be you up here, you know what I'm saying, so.
I don't give a goddamn who it was. I'm here now.
You do your thing, baby.
So you want this beat or you want?
Yeah, that shit is fun.
It's good.
Check it out now. Check it out now. Hey yo, brothers can beg and borrow, still feel sorrow when Jay-Z like Zorro. Get in that ass, better luck tomorrow. I'm too much, nigga, so never should you rush. You need to slow down or get your ass toe down. Check it out, I'm too cocky to stop me, you gotta kill me. And when I'm gone, you can still feel me. On the real beat, this shit is eternal, I rock the heavens well. Even if they won't let me in heaven, I raise hell till it's heaven. Recognize the black cat with the 9 lives. Get up off me, nigga, it's bad luck to cross me. I'm popping crystal, shooting game like missiles, as projected or hoes affected by this style. I'm act like Goldie, go back like the oldie, but the goodie, pulling R&B bitches, wearing hoodies. They don't be knowing the way I be flowing. When I be going, I be running the track like Jesse Owens. I disrupt the natural scheme, the way that you do things with a swing and have 'em rocking like. You say never you run, if ever you come, it's never you run. So fast in your life to never have one. Come on and ride the rhythm, I produce like Jism. Just like the gods, I start with knowledge and follow with wisdom. For greater understanding, I'm landing, blows in, knocking sense into those that oppose me. Enticing when slicing through tracks, you're screaming Jesus Christ is back and God knows he can rap. Me and L put rhythm on the map, so give him his dap. And me, I just take mine, give me those, give me this, give me that, fuck that. You never see me stress, energy yes, on the prize. My greedy eyes can't see no less. Jigger incredible. Even my thoughts is federal. Like kidnapping, extortion, and corruption. So you know, beating me, I never come like a nun or tomorrow. I'm too thorough, nigga. I make moves, cause bows to move when I'm creeping through your way with 1,000 little dudes. With a piece like Islam. I make your eyes rise like yeast. Surprise, I feel no fear when facing y'all. Bet your lyrics jump off the track like racing cars. MCs trying to be the best, and even in dying couldn't beat his death. I see no reason to stop cheesing ever since L said throw 3 G's in and we could get down and split the wealth. That's when I found I could do it myself. I get up.
Yeah.
Word live.
Big L, try that mic out.
Yeah.
Round 1.
Oh, we keep going.
Yeah, the mic. When the mic is open up here, it's open. I don't know.
We got 4 hours, no commercial.
Yeah, that mic ain't working either. We gonna have to go back to that one. I'll just share that. Yeah, back to Big L.
Yo, 1 2 1 2. Alright, I drop one more joint. Alright, check it out. I ain't do this in a while. Check it out. 1 2 1 2. Check it out. 1 2. Check it. Hey yo, my crew be delivering high lead when gats are clenched. Rappers like Jack and Lynch, nobody can fuck with the way I be killing up shit in rap events. Big as that nigga you expect to catch wreck on any cassette deck. I'm so ahead of my time when parents haven't met yet. I'm feeling like Billy Bathgate, my rap style is past great. I love to fuck a bitch from the back and watch her ass shake. I probably got your mommy strung. Niggas hear me and take more notes than Connie Chung. My clan plans to get Giuliani hung. Never had a gassed head, got loot cause I stashed bread. Try to tax and I'ma beat your faggot ass half dead. I stomp white cops till they life stops for the low price hops, cause my blood is colder than an ice box. Who 139, you don't want a block war, cause my crew will kill a nigga from the lobby to the top floor. And every time I'm Mac 11 bucks, I'm killing at least 7 ducks. I never was a follower of Reverend Butts, the bitch type I dislike. I'm rougher than a fist fight. All chicks ain't shit, ain't no such thing as miss right. So we can never be a couple, hun. Fuck love, all I got for hoes is hard dick and bubble gum. And clown MCs, I be attacking quick. I'm on some rapping shit and some carjacking shit. I ran up on this nigga named Mac in a black act and put the gap to his cap. Click clack, sorry Jack, get him out of that. My 38 works great, so make a mistake and hesitate. I can't wait to demonstrate this nickel plate. He didn't listen to what I was speaking. He started reaching, so I left him sleeping with his temple leaking. Alright, back to my man Jay-Z one time.
It's a lyrical invasion.
Fucked up on one line, but it's alright.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Watch your mouth, buddy.
Yeah, wash your mouth out with soap. Nah, Jay, we good. Yo, you got a new joint out. We should talk about it just real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to throw both of those on.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's available in the stores for people to buy as independent joint.
Oh yeah. It's in some stores, but once we lock this distribution thing down, it's gonna be in all stores.
Okay.
Yeah, just got Rap Pick of the Week on BET.
Tell listeners what it is.
It's been charting like 2 or 3 weeks. It's caught in my lifetime.
And on what label?
Rockefeller Records.
Rockefeller Records.
Yeah,
all right.
It's doing real good.
So go out and support Jay-Z. He's one of the originators.
Yeah, I do that.
Come on, baby.
I gotta do some shit that everybody familiar with, cause everywhere I go, they be wanting to hear this joint. And check it out, as soon as I grab it, I eat it up like a savage. And no, I don't have it, I get it together like a marriage. I'm seeing no rappers, I'm on my P's and Q's and carrots. Y'all don't understand, well goddamn, don't y'all know my status? I'm flowing the fattest, baddest, I'm the baddest. No need to explain my name, the only thing that matters. For suckers who bite me, they find I'm a bit much to swallow. You're thinking it's hollow, the rhythm is too rugged to follow. It hits you like bam, bigger the van, bam, bigger the van. Take a little breath. Goddamn, the kid is a wizard. I'm definitely destined to make 8 digits. Matter with L's on the road the riches. As soon as I step up, whenever I remember, whatever I touch, whatever I clutch, you know I'm gonna injure. The nigga don't play. Hey, that nigga don't play. Hey, here I come again. Run up in niggas and do ducking. I'm boo boo bucking. Fuck it, I'm wild. With a boo 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 band. What you niggas gonna do to the man? I see you bought your little crew. And I'm still coming with velocity. Check it out, Jitty, with I, city, Ain't none of these clowns fucking around. Ain't none of these clowns standing their ground with the crown. Prince of the underground sounds like I'm ready to catch wreck now. The heat's on, sweat now. JC's on, be going to the next town. Punk, jump up and get beat down. Check it out, ladies, be coming in this piece now. Shit, I got crazy skills. It's a pity the way I'm ripping, rugged rhythm to the city like na 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 na. I got rhythm, I hit 'em with rhythm, I hit 'em and split 'em. I did 'em, I get rid of them guys. J.A. Baby, please give me cheese. Baby, with crazy ease. Why Jay-Z get crazy cheese? Yeah. Ha. I'm tired too.
Boom. Like that.
Yeah, he's on the album too, word up.
Yeah, we're gonna play that joint right now. Alright. Hey, Big L.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake the fuck up. This is WTFU with your hosts, Thomas Horazzo, Gizo, and Chantel London. Staying woke from the US to the UK.
What up, what up? We are live on R&R Live. And we are also live today on Chantel 3.0. All channels are armed. On channel 1, you'll find me, Tom Horazzo. On channel 2, you've got Jadon, a.k.a. Gizo, voice of the people. And we have Chantel London. live from London. Now, it's kind of interesting today because both of you guys are joining. Actually, Jizo's going to be in and out because he's actually working. That's the kind of dedication that I like. You know, Jizo's working, but he's like, nah, I still got to be on. So right now he's probably driving around somewhere near your hood. You know, we call him the Black Transporter as well. So he's probably driving around in a big black SUV somewhere. You know, taking care of his people. So, but he'll be jumping in and out as he can. And of course, I have Chantel here, you know, ready to go, ready to rock with me. You know, good evening. It's probably what morning it's getting. It's still good evening, right? For the folks that may be on Chantel 3.0 on your YouTube channel. So we welcome, your people.
Yeah, and just to kind of echo what you said there, Tom, you know, I really kind of have to respect Jizo for, like you say, just working and still dedicated to doing the show today. So yeah, it's good to see. I knew, like, even though I'm kind of tired, I was like, there's no way that I can, like, you know, back out knowing that Jizo's on the road and literally multitasking right now to contribute to the program. So that's really good commitment there.
Right. And if, you know, as always, you know, if you guys need a day off, you know, I know we work real hard on this show. You know, if you need a day off from my tyrannical leadership style, you know, just put in for it a month ahead of time and we'll be all good. So no, I'm just kidding. So yeah. Let's see here. Just kind of looking at the agenda here. Chantel, you had brought up, and we're just going to jump right into it. So Chantel, you had brought up the issue of, well, actually what happened last year at Grenfell Tower, and this was a big fire, right, in an apartment building, essentially.
Yeah, so it's actually one of the biggest fires that we've actually had in modern history here in the UK. It really sort of touched and affected the entire country when this tower, known as the Grenfell Tower in West London, just set ablaze in the early hours of the 14th of June last year. And so tomorrow will be the first year anniversary of this fire. And it literally engulfed the whole entire tower block in a matter of minutes, really. It began on the 4th floor. And they report that 72 people died, which is a lot of people. But actually, word on the street is that there may even have been a cover up, and there could have even been other people that lost their lives. I mean, I don't know, that might be the conspiracy, but you know, a lot of people lost their lives, and even more people were hugely affected by this fire. You know, people lost their homes, they lost all their possessions, and you know, the trauma from this event was absolutely devastating. And so I guess a year on, you know, there's been a lot of coverage about that event last year, you know, what could have been done to prevent it. So one of the reasons why this fire kind of rapidly spread across the tower block is due to the cladding that they'd actually put on the outside, on the exterior. And the cladding itself was very hazardous. So it was more hazardous than like a matchstick. Like it was so quick to kind of, you know, engulf in fire, because
was it an old structure?
So yeah, so the tower block itself was an old structure. A lot of our tower blocks, you know, in the London, in the inner city, were built around in the 1960s. I'm not 100% sure when this particular block was built, but a lot of them were built in the 60s when I guess there was a bit of a housing shortage, and just kind of, you know, finding the space to kind of house people really quickly. So they started building all these tower blocks up and down, you know, the country and the city. And I think one of the conversations that's been having is that the cladding was put up to kind of make the tower block look pretty, and it's almost been linked to the whole gentrification topic as well, because that particular area, it's a massive contrast. Basically, like, you have some people that are, you know, multi-millionaires, they live like incredibly well, and then, you know, right opposite them, you'll have people in social housing, you know. So one of the arguments is that, you know, people feel as though all they wanted to do was kind of like glamorize this building, make it look aesthetically pleasing for like rich people, etc. But actually, it was extremely dangerous, and there wasn't enough checks to kind of, to make sure that it was actually going to be safe to house people. One of the things that happened around the time of the fire is that when it actually broke out on the block, most people stayed in their flats because that's what you're told to do. If there's a fire that breaks out in another flat, stay in your flat because that fire is not supposed to spread. And usually that's okay. But again, because of the cladding, it spread so quickly that people really needed to come out of the block. And I know people that went down, their days afterwards, and they were saying how they couldn't believe their eyes because it was such a shocking sight to see.
Right now, Chantal, you may have talked about it. Yeah, I might have missed it. But the people that would have been living in this building, was it what would we consider it, low income, mixed income?
Yeah, so it was predominantly low income and predominantly multi-nationalities and multi-races as well. So that was another kind of argument, like, bringing in the race factor and bringing in the class factor. So is it because, these people are not white English that, they didn't really care? Or is it because these people are, on low incomes and it's social housing and some of these people may not work? Is that the reason? So it did bring up a whole sort of class and race debate. I just seen a message here from London Taylor on my channel as well, and he's saying to mention that the cladding is actually banned in America. So if something's banned in America, which I didn't realize, you would presume that the council, the government would have not, thought to have used it over here. So
Right.
again, that kind of shows just kind of the negligence in using that, really. And it should have never have happened. That's really the bottom line. It should have never happened. People should have never suffered like that, lost their lives, lost everything over, materialism, really.
Right, and I'll tell you, it does say something if it's banned in America, because especially for building, because there are a lot of things I feel in that pass in America that don't in other places. I'd imagine you guys would have stricter building codes than we do. An issue recently was, I don't know if you remember this, Chantel, not to deviate too much, but there was a fire at Trump Plaza in New York City. So basically one of his buildings, and one person was killed, but the thing is that there were not any. I guess there weren't any what we call the fire suppressant system. What do we call it? Sprinkler system.
Right.
Right. And he was him being a Trump, being a builder of buildings, lobbied against it. Decades. Decades earlier, because basically the city was considering having buildings that were built without them, having them retrofitted. Now of course that would have cost him a lot of money. So he actually spoke. To, I forget at what level, whether it was federal or state or even city, at the city level. He actually spoke that how harmful it would be to to his business if he had to go in and put that, and that there was no real need for it. And then years later, someone died in his building. So that just goes to show you how builders can lobby really the government to get their way.
And it almost shows as well, like how the people in power kind of seem to put sort of profit over people, right?
Right, absolutely.
And it should be about people and people's safety and not cutting corners, because these are people's lives. You trust that if you're housed somewhere, you're going to be safe, and if this happens, if a fire breaks out, you'll be able to be evacuated, and people are not going to lose their lives on such a mass scale like that. And when you think about it, 2017, like an incident like of that magnitude in the UK should have never have happened in one of the richest boroughs in the country as well. That's why so many people are so shocked and devastated. One of the things that I guess one of the only positives that you can kind of highlight from that situation was just unity in the community, and people from up and down the country really kind of gave their hearts and souls to help people, donations. People was coming down and bringing, essentials, toiletries for people. So there was this sense of community spirit, and people from every nationality, every race, every class helped to kind of ease some of that horrendous pain that people were, feeling at the time. And actually, even one of the women that I worked with, she didn't live in the tower, but she lived really close to it, and she had to take time off work as well for like trauma, because she knew one of the people who had lost their lives, in that event as well. So
Right.
it was a really kind of, as I say, tragic.
Yeah,
And it's
we
just
had a
been
lot of
over
that
the last
same vibe. And real quick, salute to Rob Lowe 2000 for joining us as well. We had a lot of that same vibe after 9/11. Everyone kind of came together, for a while, and then of course we kind of melted back into our own, tribal ways. But so it's always that, and it's sad that it takes, that tragedy for us to unite and go basically cross cultural, have that cross cultural moment where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter if they're, and I'm pretty sure you had people saying the thing, oh, today we're all from Grenfell, right? There's no Muslims, there's no blacks, there's no whatever, we're all, with Grenfell today. But then
Yes,
of
I
course,
agree.
it fades away and we get back into what we get back into. Now I noticed on the article that I was reading, that Theresa May, right, your prime minister is now having, now she's playing and she may be genuine. I don't want to come down as hard on her because I don't know her like that as well as I guess I know, or at least follow Donald Trump here in the United States. So what's because she says she regrets not going down there and meeting with the victims, the survivors of the fire.
Yeah, so she went down there and she kind of like met with the firefighters, etc. But she wasn't really on a grassroots level, actually meeting with those who were affected. So a lot of people felt like, first of all, she came late. And it just seemed very insincere. It's like, this has happened on your watch. People have just lost their lives, lost their homes, lost their possessions, lost everything, in the blink of an eye. This is a tragedy in your country, and you kind of haven't shown that compassion by coming down and actually meeting these people face to face, and actually showing that the love that you would expect from one human to another. And as we just mentioned, that so many people were touched, and that heartfelt compassion came out of people to go down there and try and help. And it's almost like you as the prime minister, we would expect that from you in these kind of situations as well. And yeah, she's since had to apologize. Now, as you say, I don't know how genuine it is, because I guess I don't know her heart really, but she had to apologize regardless, because a lot of people looked on her in a way to say, we expected more from you,
Right.
as our prime minister.
Well, London Taylor doesn't believe she's genuine at all, so that she puts up a facade. Hey, you guys know her better than me, so I'll take your word for it. I know she's what is she? She's what do they call it? You guys call your conservatives Tories?
Yeah, Tories or conservatives. Yep.
And
The same difference.
Yeah, the environment that we're in today, you have to question, why she didn't, because we see it here in the United States all the time, right? We had the I don't know if we didn't talk about this on air. I don't think we did. But there was a shooting at a Waffle House here in I think we did actually. There was a shooting at a Waffle House maybe going on 2 months ago now, where there was a butt naked guy. Essentially, he came in with a rifle and shot up a Waffle House. He killed, I forget how many people, but there was a young black man who stepped up. So this was a white perpetrator, young black man who stopped him, essentially wrestled the rifle away from him, and the guy went off running into the woods. They eventually caught him, but it took a while for the president to go ahead and give him a call, which is kind of customary here in the United States. You have someone who just saved lives, put their own life at risk. Basically he's what we would call a hero, what I would call a hero, because a lot of times and I know I'll probably catch some flack for this, but like for instance, I was in the Marines, and a lot of people tend to call military people heroes, and police officers and firefighters heroes, and my position, being in the military was always that no, we're doing our job, right? You to me, a hero is someone who does something that they don't necessarily have to do, right? This kid in the Waffle House could have ran out the back door, you know, and looked out for his own butt, but he decided to step up. Now to be fair, he did admit, hey, I was just trying to survive. That's what I was thinking. So he did it out of self-preservation. But at any rate, you know, the president, it took nearly a week for him to get in contact, and I'm pretty sure our president, you know, did it begrudgingly. Like, yeah, you know, you should call this guy, you know, because.
But the irony is that it's like Donald Trump seems to have so much time to be tweeting nonsense, but yet to pick up the phone and make a phone call when he needs to, like, he hasn't got the time to do that.
Right. Well, yeah, because his Twitter fingers are itchy, you know. But yeah, and the thing is you see our president, you know, not to kind of delve into our president. I you know I don't like the guy, so it's real easy for me to go on about him. But you know, it's real easy for him to condemn. Now, if a Muslim had shot up that, and that's the other thing is it was a white guy who shot up the joint, you know, so he didn't really say anything for a while on the whole topic at all. But had it been a Muslim who went in there and shot up, you know, Waffle House, oh, he would have been on it. He would have been on it. Oh, this is why we need border security. This is why I'm calling for a total ban on all Muslims and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Border patrol, border control. You know, this is why, you know, so he's just full of shit, you know, at the end of the day. Now, the question is we have to see if Theresa May, you know, what, you know, how can she make up for this, you know? And right now she's playing the political game, but the things are, you know, England is different than we are. You know, she's the prime minister today, but, you know, at the end of this year, she may not be. Of course, we're stuck with our president, you know, until his term is up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit tricky for us to just kind of get someone else re-elected as well. But at the moment, she's got so much on her plate with the whole Brexit situation, and that's not going smoothly at all. Like, it's really up in the air because so many people who voted out. So just to remind you, the Brexit was, you know, do we want to stay in Europe or do we want to leave the European Union? And, you know, just by a slim majority, we voted to leave the European Union. But so much has transpired since then. And there's a lot of regrets through that vote. And people kind of saying, like, we shouldn't actually be going through with this. Like, I know we voted out, but we shouldn't be doing this because look at what this is going to cost us now. Look at what this is going to cost us in the long term. Maybe we need to reconsider. Like, no one else has done this before us. You know, just because we voted out, is there not a way that we could maybe like change things? So there's a lot going on within politics at the moment with regard to that situation. So it's like the most messiest divorce that you could kind of imagine in your life, you know. So
and you know, it's
really
funny,
crazy.
you know, you were asking me if I had heard about, right, if the Grenfell Tower, you know, if anything had popped up here in the U.S. media, and granted, I don't have my eyes on all U.S. media, but I do a pretty good job of looking at, you know, I've got a decent news feed that I check out every day. But one thing I did see, speaking on kind of Brexit and economical issues real quick, is, you know, Rolls-Royce, you know, hurting. They're about to lay off 4,000 people. They're having problems with several engines. And, yeah, and you marry that up with Brexit, that's just a bad look.
And actually, there are so many
Gizo,
brands, actually,
I'm sorry,
massive household names who are going into administration at the moment. And yeah, as you say, when you marry it up with Brexit, it's not a good look. But also, there's just a lot happening now, and just in terms of society and just the way we shop and the way we kind of appreciate brands. Sorry, so a lot of high street retailers are just going out of business simply because people just don't shop the way we used to. So people aren't going out on like a Saturday and going shopping. Most people just kind of order what they need now. So it's just not the fashion. And I used to think, you know, some of these household names, they would never, ever, ever, you know, take such a loss that they need to close down, even though I don't shop in some of these places myself, but they are the names that you grow up with. And even with you guys, I mean, Toys R Us,
right?
You know, that was, I guess, was a universal thing. I would have never thought personally like a store like Toys R Us would face, you know, the hardship that obviously it faced, but it's just, I guess it's a change of times now.
Well, I've been reading into that as well, and I want to come back on Gizo real quick, because Gizo chimed in a second ago, but I want to kind of make sure we get back to a couple things on the Grenfell Tower. But when it comes to places like Toys R Us, I've been doing a little reading on the subject, and I'll tell you what, it's you may think that the company was hurting, but in reality, it wasn't that. What we have are these venture capitalists, that go ahead and do leverage, what's known as leverage buyouts. And I don't want to kind of get into it because the concept is tricky because when we go to buy things, we either buy them on credit or we buy them with cash, and usually it's things that we can generally afford, right? We make more money per year than the item is, unless it's a house. Usually a house is, is probably the most expensive thing that we'll buy in our lifetimes that, and maybe we don't make, $100, $200, $300,000 a year. So that's why we mortgage the thing over for the most part, a 30-year process. But with these leverage buyouts, you can buy a lot for a little. Let's just say that. And then what winds up happening is you saddle that company with the debt. Essentially, the company that you just bought, you put the onus on them to pay back the loan that you just used to buy that company. And
right,
and then when I determine that I'm not making enough money or whatever, that's when I decide to close out and basically, right, the employees get left holding the bag, the company gets left holding the bag, even the consumers do, because now with Toys, because Toys R Us, just real quick, I shouldn't have read the piece because now it's on the tip of my mind. But Toys R Us, 1 out of every 5 toys sold in America last year was bought through Toys R Us. So it's not like no one was going there. The place was making money. And there's a couple stories out there, and I encourage you guys to look into them and to see what really is the story behind Toys R Us, because it really made no sense. It came out of nowhere. But Jizo, are you with us? Where are you at? What hood you in?
Yo, I'm over here by Yankee Stadium. Just trying to throw some people over here and just circling my old hood.
All right, they hook you up. They hook you up, or how do they treat you? Were they musty like funk?
Nah, man. It's crazy. Like some cats, it was a drive-by over here a couple of nights ago, so I just came through, let this come back to CT, but I think I'm just gonna hop on the highway because I ain't seeing nobody outside right now that I know, But yo, I want to touch on that Grenfell thing real quick. When Chantel was talking about it, it kind of reminded me of that movie, because you said it was a fire with the tower. That new movie with The Rock that came out? I don't even know the name of it.
Isn't it called The Tower?
I think it is, because he got like some kind of bionic or steel arm or leg. And I'm looking at him like, oh, this dude, he just doing every action thing. But, it kind of made me think about, like, if a fire broke out in the tower, and it's supposed to be some tower, like, I guess, like, over there in, like, Dubai, where they're, like, 140 or almost 200 stories high, and a fire breaks out, and he's trying to get to his family, but some other stuff is going on. But, yeah, anyway, yeah, that's crazy how all those people died in that fire. I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember the Happy Day in the Bronx. It was this club, a social club, and I think this guy, he went in there like mad at his girlfriend, if I'm correct. This happened about like 20, 30 years ago. And a lot of people, I don't know if it was like 70 people, but it was close to that. They died in the fire because this guy it's like one of those clubs only had one exit out, and everybody goes trapped in there, and they set it on fire. It's called Happy Land. I think it was Happy Land or something like that. It's crazy. Damn. But yeah, fires are no joke. I mean, I had electrical fire. Luckily, nobody got hurt. My uncle got out. Like you said, you're supposed to keep your door closed, stay in because when the fire, the smoke comes out, it just goes and it could go into somebody else's house. So that's why they tell you don't open doors, keep the doors closed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so, Chantel, yeah, I mean, fires are crazy. I haven't had actually a safety brief with a couple years ago. I let my wife and daughter know, hey, this is what we do. We got a small house, so for the most part, if we jump off the second story here, we're good, and that's what needs to get done. But and that's what actually scares me about those buildings. There's no quick way out. You have to actually remain real calm and try to act like everything's good. If not, you'll just trample each other. But Chantel, go ahead.
So I was just going to say that usually when there's a fire, the elevators are like sort of automatically switched off as well. So then everyone's trying to run down the staircase, and you can just imagine the chaos and people trampling over one another, and people are frantic. And you've got babies, you've got young children, you've got elderly people. So it's really scary.
Right.
Really scary.
Real quick, salute to Jean-Paul Shelton. Thanks for joining us. So Chantel, real quick, again, I want to know, has there been any legislative? See, at the end of the day, and like Gizo was talking about last week, right? We always get asked, well, what's the solution? How does this end? In this case, what I would be asking of the legislators, the members of parliament, whoever it is, right in the area, what are we going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again, right? So are we going to make sure that this like you said, the cladding outside of the building, is that now banned? Are other procedures in place? What has come out of the tragedy? Because for me, it's unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I feel like 9/11, although 9/11 was an attack on us, it's oranges to apples, I know, but it was a tragedy the same. So the thing is, with 9/11, I don't believe we've actually learned our lesson as a country here in America. If anything, we've gone deeper. We've taken a deeper dive into the same types of activity that caused 9/11, or caused the attackers to believe that they needed to attack us in the first place. So and as far as the towers are concerned, or Grenfell Tower, or in building in England, and buildings in England in general, has anything changed to your knowledge?
Oh, I know that they're still in the midst of doing an inquiry now. With regards to the cladding, that, as far as I'm aware, has been banned now. I know they removed it from several other tower blocks as well, because the Grenfell wasn't the only tower block that had that cladding placed on it. So I know they've had to take it down from some of the other blocks. And I remember, sort of in the aftermath of that, there was some areas in London where people had to actually just leave their homes for like weeks or months, where they were removing that cladding as well. So that was kind of like an instant sort of like change right there. So I think, they're still looking into the causes and how they can obviously prevent a fire of that magnitude in the future as well. But whether there's any, formalized legislation, I can't say the word.
Legislation.
I think you can't say the word. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually been formalized just yet, but hopefully they will. Because like you say, with all these things that happen, like, we need to have solutions. We need to know that we're moving forward and not moving backwards, because no one wants to see anything like this happen again. So lessons have to be learned, and really heads need to roll as well. Do you know what I mean? Because people are responsible.
Right.
So
people knew.
What's real quick? What's the cladding? When you're talking about that's what caused the fire, what's that? The cladding?
It was like a material that they put on the exterior of the actual building, and it was really only put there for vanity. It didn't have any real function. It just made the block look nicer. So rather than it just being like bricks, it just gave it like a better finish, really. But it was just very, very, very hazardous, and it should have never been used in the first place.
Yeah, so that, like you said, solutions, don't ever build a building with that. And like you said, has a role for that. What year that happened in again?
It happened last year, so tomorrow is literally the first year anniversary, and there's gonna be like a minute silence, etc.
Wow.
So yeah.
So and it's up to it's. I know I always try to pound this into everyone's head. Nothing will change unless people are voted out. And that's just it, right? There's going to be no interest because people are, I hate to say it, but with legislators, they have to look at it like, okay, well, are these people going to get me out of office? Are they going to stop my money flow? If no one's going to come out and vote, then, they don't even have to touch the subject at all. There's really no holding anyone accountable. So hopefully people get out there and what's that?
People like to pass the buck quite a lot and just pass the blame from one person or from one company to another. And I mean, I don't necessarily think it's like, this one person was responsible, but it's a collective, so collectively, decisions need to be made how to move forward. And as I say, how to prevent situations like this happening, because as I said, we trust in those who have the power to make changes, and we as the public want to see change occur.
Right. and you know, sometimes we have to do the forensics, really, you know, when it comes to some of this stuff, right? I know, like you're saying, right, there's no one person to blame, but I would look at, okay, has anyone ever challenged the validity or the safety of this product? Okay, if that challenge was made, you know, why wasn't it? Where's the testing that was done? You know, who makes the product? Is it some fat cat businessman, you know, in England, you know, who makes the product, and who's making sure that the basically the wheels of the political wheels are being greased to make sure that doesn't get touched, and who are those people? So, you know, sometimes it's you know, yeah, we really have to take that deep dive, you know, into the subject to find out what's really going on. You know, because if not, you know, and our politicians here do it all the time. Oh, it's just one of those things, you know. It just happens, you know. This is just life, and we need more prayer. That's what we would have been hearing here in America. We just need to pray more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good praying is good, but you know, you need to do prayer and work.
You know, those atheists be saying that.
Yeah, you know I'm an atheist, so you know what I'm saying, freaking.
They're like, goddamn prayer, damn that prayer. Yeah. Just vote, damn it.
Hey, right. I mean, you know, and don't get me wrong. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about it recently, and we may get into it. Actually, I think we're gonna get into a little bit of it. But you know, that's one thing that I really appreciate. I would call the black church, right? If we're looking at it as an institution here in the United States. So we're talking about churches that people of color, or black people rather, would basically be going to on a every Sunday basis. You know, one of the great things that used to happen, and I don't know if it still is, I hope it is, whenever they can, but is after service on Sunday, everybody gets in their car, right, and goes to vote. You know, and this is when they started, you know, having, they were able to get Sunday voting. Normally voting day in America is on a Tuesday, usually in November or whatever the occasion is. If it's a special election, whatever, it'll be on a Tuesday. But you know, black people in the South were able to get in, you know, early voting on a Sunday, because that's when everyone was together. Right, and you just again, you're already in your car. Hey, if you need a ride, if you walk to church that day, you know, whatever. Let's go to the polling station. You know, I'll give you a ride. Let's all do this together. That's how important. Basically, I love how important the whole act of voting was, and still is. You know, for the most part. I'm not saying that. I want to say black people as a percentage of. I'm trying to frame this right. As a group, I think there are higher numbers of voter turnout amongst black people than any other group. Now, keeping in mind, black people make up 13% of the population, and I think they're. I had to look up the numbers, so I don't want to do any.
That's probably what happened in Alabama for them to get your boy Roy out, right? They had to come in like droves. You know what I'm saying? That was the if it wasn't for black women in Alabama, we would have essentially a guy who is not necessarily a pedophile. I know we use that word we kind of use that word universally here in the United States for any person who has a sexual desire toward young people, but a pedophile, there's actually ranges. So Roy Moore would have been something else. I forget the term, but it's something aphile, right? It's a person who likes people in their adolescent, you know, who has sexual desires for people in their adolescent somebody age. We still don't want our kids around.
Yeah, at the end, right? I don't. Yeah, exactly, right. We don't need to freaking to scrutinize everything. Yeah, I wouldn't leave my 5-year-old. I wouldn't leave my 13-year-old near this freaking creep, because basically this guy would show up to, you know, and we talked about him. He'd show up to high school football. This dude was 30 years old, you know, 20-something years old, showing up to high school football games trying to pick up, you know, teenage girls. You know, but this guy, anyways, Shanta, I think you may remember that we talked about him. He was running for senator just earlier. Was it earlier this year or late last year?
I think it was earlier this year.
Earlier this year, he was running for senator in Alabama to replace a guy who went to work for Donald Trump. But anyways, that loss, or his loss, was attributed to, you know, black women showing up in force. And God, are we gonna need black women this year to frickin' help stop Donald Trump? And women, we're gonna need women in general. Actually, we're gonna need white women. We're gonna need Latino women, all women on deck. And hopefully they're with us. But
so
there's
I'm sorry.
collective voting. Sorry, No, I'm just going to make the point that there is power in collective voting, isn't it? And that's what a lot of people say. I always sort of stress the point that I think, we have the right to vote, so we should exercise that vote. But it's more powerful when you can come together as a group and say, this is how we want to use our vote. So it's good that, from the church as well, that they were kind of mobilizing and taking action to vote in that way. And I guess everyone, because they're coming from the church, would have the mindset to know like how they want to vote, and it kind of relates back to the point I made about the Brexit and just how divisive the Brexit has been in this country, that even families and even people in couples like voted on different sides of the spectrum. Like they just couldn't unify in their decision as to whether we should stay or go. Imagine your husband or your wife and you're having arguments because you literally, one's going to vote to remain, one's going to vote to leave, and that's within the same household. So that's how divisive that's been, over here, and it still is, really.
Right, and that's why, like kind of to your point, with church, it brings at least, and what's interesting about the church, the black church, anyways, here in the United States, is that a long time ago, right? If you were black, you could not have a political meeting, right, down south. Imagine if you you went in a bar, you went in a restaurant, and a bunch of black people were talking about how they're going to vote, their strategy, what are their interest. It would have got totally shut down. So the only place that was safe here in the United States was the church. That's why politics was being talked about in church, because they knew that no one would come in there, start busting skulls if it was a diner or some, God forbid, a political club like we have. I mentioned this maybe 2 months ago that not too far from where I live, there's an Italian American political club. Imagine a place like that down south, 50 years ago. Oh, the African American political club. It would have lasted a day before it was burnt down.
Yeah.
Facts. Hashtag facts.
So, moving on, of course, we'll continue to follow. This is year one after Grenfell. We'll hopefully next year, when we go to possibly retouch on this subject, some real changes have been made. So again, it's a continuing conversation. That's what I love about the way we do our show here, is that we don't have to talk about what's necessarily popping in the news right now. What's the next big thing? We could touch on something that's not really getting a lot of attention. So yeah. So anyways, real quick, salute to Rich, of course. And salute to Big Van David. Thanks for joining us. In case you guys don't know, we are live on R&R Live, RR Live, and Chantel 3.0 at the same time. So we're actually simulcasting here. The way I've got my chat set up is I'm seeing chats from both. So I don't know where everyone individually is coming from. But thanks for joining us.
Booyaka.
There you go. Where you driving through Jamaica, Queens right now, or what?
Nah, I'm actually in Westchester right now.
Okay, you in the
Hudson to the north.
All right.
Yeah, I'm in New Rochelle. New Rochelle. What up, New Rochelle? My Nauru Grand Nubians. One for all. You don't know nothing about that, Chantel. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? This I got a hit. I got a black card hit. Oh, I gotta see what this is.
Okay, Jizo's getting. In case for you guys that don't know, Jizo's getting that money right. He just saw money pop up on his cell phone. You know what I mean?
Nah, we don't do the Uber X. They gotta pay that top dollar to get it either SUV or black. You know what I'm saying? We're going with that black on black, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so what we doing next? What we talking about next?
All right, that's what's up. So did I want to get into this? Let's see here. We wanted to do an update on the Chicago gun violence thing. This is kind of a couple weeks old, I think. I don't know. Yeah, what the hell happened last week? Anyways, last week was crazy, just like this week. But anyways, so Chicago gun violence, right? Great, good news and bad news. The good news is that they're down about 54 murders from this time last year, right? So that's great. 54 people are alive, thankfully. And it's sad that we have to look at these murder rates like we expect, right? That the same amount of people that got killed last year, or the amount of people that got killed last year, we somewhat expect the trend to remain the same, right? If not go up, because there's nothing that really has changed in Chicago, from an outsider's point of view, that would make that change. We're still listening to the music. It still is, as crazy as ever, you know, right? It's shooting up everybody, shooting up kids, whatever, who cares? The president isn't helping any. You know, we know he doesn't give a fuck about what goes on in Chicago. So anyways, 54 less murders, that's good, but they also had I have an article pulled up in front of me. Let's see here. This is from CBS, but they had also at the same time they had a spike in shootings. So actually, in less than a week, in May, in 1 week, that 50 people were shot, which was actually an uptick from that same time last year. So more people are getting shot, but there are less fatalities. So I guess aiming is now and effectiveness of the firearms is in question. Now, of course, when I read this article, I say to myself, you know, Chantel and Jizo, okay, great. Shooting, murders are down in Chicago. I want to know the reason for that, right? So that way we can focus in on that and whatever it is, continue to get those numbers to drop, right? Because if this is just happening spontaneously, then, you know, they could just pick up, right? We could be at the same rate of murders from last year, this year in 1 month, right? We could, I hate to say, but we could, right, you know, or the people of Chicago, the people that are killing themselves or killing each other, they could bring those numbers right back up, just when you know, so they can play catch up. Let's just put it that way. Not to be too, you know, just kind of dismissive of the whole thing, but
it's kind of like a double-edged sword like story though, isn't it? Because like you say, it's like, okay, the murder rate is down, that's great, but there's more shooting, so it's almost like, I mean, do you feel, I don't know, are people consciously maybe shooting more but not trying to shoot to kill, just shoot to wound? Or it's kind of hard to I don't know how to place myself in that situation. Definitely great that not as many fatalities, but there does seem to be still a massive issue when
Chantel?
Yeah.
I think I lost Chantel. Stand by. She should be coming back in a second here.
I hear her calling in.
Chantel?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back.
Yeah, okay. Dropped you real quick. So,
Yeah. Well, yo, real quick. So that article that y'all hear me?
Yep.
That article that I was looking at earlier that I showed you. So that was from like 2010 to 2015, and it showed that, you know, murder per capita, Chicago was like not even at the top. It was like St. Louis, New Orleans, all these other, you know, states, and then it had like non-fatal shooting. So Chicago, but like I said, that was from 2010 to 2015. Now in 2018, I didn't really find anything that showed where they were at, like, because I didn't get a chance to do enough research on. But I wanted to talk about something else, but then it was like, you know, like you said, the week's been crazy. But what I did find was an article. All right, so you remember the chief, I guess, superintendent of the police that was in charge when that Laquan McDonald got shot? You remember that kid that got shot, the cop? He had a knife, and and the cop just walked up on him and emptied his clip and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is running actually for mayor. He's trying to run against the mayor that he was under when that shooting happened, and he's trying to blame it on him, like saying that he made some. I was looking on PolitiFact. It was some stupid quote he made saying that, like, so he's trying to say that the murders are like costing the city, like, taxpayers a lot of money, saying that the murders for, I think it was whatever year, maybe last year, was like cost the city $9.6 billion, which is like, you know, it's hard to put like a number to like say a dead body. You don't want to do that, but you know, they was doing some calculations, but they said the city's budget is only $8.6 billion. So it's like, it didn't make sense. So this guy's basically trying to like start a campaign saying that all these murders are like costing the city a lot of money, but they were saying that, like, what he's saying kind of didn't make any sense, because he's trying to saying that the budget is like spent just on murders, like, I guess, like paying off the people, you know, that get murdered, like not paying them off, but like, I guess sometimes when the police, like that Laquan McDonald, I don't know how much the Chicago the police had to pay, you know, in the lawsuits to settle with the family, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of lawsuits that settled by the police departments in Chicago for shooting men, you know, that weren't justified. But then, you know, also with like other people that, like, say for instance, like you got people that have to, take time off for, funerals and all this other crazy shit. But I don't know. That guy looks kind of crooked. I don't mean every chief in the police department looks kind of crooked to me.
Yeah, so he's the chief. Yeah, so I have to look into that campaign. That does seem like some bullshit. And the person who he's talking about, right, Rahm Emanuel, I believe still is the mayor. Now,
yeah.
Gizo, to get back to somewhat to your point with that older article that you read, and you sent me the graphic, and you're right. Chicago wasn't even in the top 10 for most gun violence, most homicides, a few years ago. Now, this is the game that we see though from this is a political game, right? So the people that are focusing in on Chicago, right, they're going to be Republicans. They're going to be on the conservative side, and the reason why they play this game is because you got to keep in mind, right, our former president, the last real president that we had, Barack Obama, he's from Chicago. Rahm Emanuel was his chief of staff in the first in his first term, in Barack Obama's first term. He actually left the White House to go run for the mayor, run to be the mayor of Chicago. So when they attack Chicago, it's not that they care about all the beautiful black people in Chicago that are being killed, right? They don't care. They just want to attack Barack Obama, right? Because this is an association game, right? This is like, Chicago, Barack Obama, and that's really the connection. And the point is to show you see what happens under Democratic leadership. You got like you got a war zone. They don't want to bring up New Orleans, right? Because at the time, as of a few years ago, now they do have a Democratic governor, but they did before that. They had a guy named Bobby Jindal. Now Bobby Jindal was a Republican. He's a medical doctor. And I always find it interesting how people need to change their names to be in the Republican Party. Now, Bobby Jindal is he's Indian. He's of Indian descent, not Native American, but Indian. Now he has a traditional Indian name, but in order for him to make it in politics, he needs to change his name to Bobby, right? His real name, his given name, does not sound anything like Bobby. Let's just say it may start with a B, but that's where Bobby. It ends right there, right?
Bobby,
huh?
That's his name, Bobby.
That's his nickname. I mean, that's what he wants to be called. That Bobby Jindal.
Bobby, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Fucking. So he needs to change it. Same thing with the.
Sorry,
All right, you good?
That's that Bobby Bobby Shmurda song.
Yeah,
Bobby,
and look at where he's at.
Here. Yeah, I know, right?
So shout out.
That's where that guy should be at, because New Orleans was a murder capital for a long time, and nobody. Nah, but that was back when that was back when No Limit was out, though.
Right, but that's a good point, though, right? When New Orleans is going to hell in a handbasket, but it's under Republican leadership, nobody talks about it, right? St. Louis, Missouri, right, and we saw that on the chart as being one of the big time places for murders. You're not hearing a lot about that. For some reason, it's all about Chicago.
Republican has was the mayor that was over there in St. Louis for the last 5-10 years.
I gotta look into it a little more, but it raises the question: why aren't we talking about it? Right? That's the initial. Yeah. It doesn't pass the smell test. Well, wait a minute. If we've got all these other places, in the United States that have more murders than Chicago, why are we focusing in on Chicago when they're 13 and 14 on the list? Why not number one?
I think you make a valid point, Tom, about the association. I think that's true, but also just from my perspective, being in the UK, like there seems to be like a higher interest in murder in Chicago, not just from a political perspective, but from everywhere. Because you look at movies like The Barber Shop, and then they talk about Chicago. It's set in Chicago. There was another movie, right, that was about Chicago, and that was when the women were kind of boycotting sex to kind of, I forget what it's called.
Chirac.
That was the Chirac movie. Yeah, okay. So that was, so I don't know, like there just seems to always be like a bigger emphasis on what's happening in Chicago by most people rather than what's the state of crime and killings in other cities. So I don't know why. There seems to be multiple reasons for it.
Right. Well,
you know what it is. You know what it is, real quick. Because I heard this like months ago when that Vegas shooting happened, and I heard people whispering in the gym And I'm not gonna say what ethnicity they was or race or whatever, but you can kind of guess.
Ah.
They were like, they were just talking about like, yo, yeah, you know, they're not doing like cause you know, I guess they were gun owners and you know how they, you know, all this gun stuff or when the school shootings happen. And I heard them talking like, yeah, you know, what stuff happened in Chicago, they don't talk about gun laws and stuff like this. And I'm like, here they go to Chicago shit, but that has nothing to do with just happened in Vegas or with these people, with these kids getting killed in the school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, okay, it's like you said, apples and oranges or whatever you want, apples and pears, blah, blah, blah. Like, yo, don't talk about something else. We talking about this right here. Like, yeah, you know, it was crazy, but like you said, and that chart shows the last 5 years, the last 5 out of 8 years, Chicago is not even in the top 10 of murder per capita. Just like New Haven. New Haven was like 5 or 10 years, not even 10 years ago, like 5 to 7, 8 years ago was like number 5 on the list, but nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, you know, they just want to, I guess, because Chicago is a great city and had a lot of black people. And like you said, it's tied to Obama. Like, yeah, let's talk about Chicago and how it's all fucked up there when it comes to gun control. But meanwhile, you know, a white man, usually younger white male, can shoot up a school full of innocent kids. And I know, like Thomas said before, it's a life, but yo, gang violence is totally different from somebody getting a AR and just shooting up a bunch of innocent kids. Like, come on, like, you know what I'm saying? Or the Vegas shooter where he's like, he has it scoped out to just kill like 70. I don't know how many people he killed. You know, and this dude had money too. He's not fighting for no turf. He's not fighting for no crack. You know, or like who's going to sell on this corner? Or y'all killed my cousin. It's just like, nah, I'm just gonna fucking get wasted, go up in this fucking hotel, and I'm gonna air out the whole shit. I don't care who get hit. Like that's mentally deranged. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gotta be mentally deranged to be in the streets and knowing that, like, yo, if I don't kill this dude, he's gonna kill me. And that's a hard way to think about it. That's how a lot of these cats grow up. Like,
yeah, but
yo,
to a degree, Gizo, I would also say that there is somewhat of it's a different sort of derangement because, you know, there some of the kids I think you know, that are out there in the streets, you know, you don't necessarily need to be out there, right? If you stay in your building, and I know you grew up in New York City. You probably didn't grow up in a building though, did you?
Yeah, I grew up in the sixth floor.
Right. So the way to stay safe, right, is to stay indoors and not associate, you know, yourself, you know, right. So to me, I think it's insane, you know, to know that there's so much violence out there in the street, but yet say I'm still gonna go hang out on my, you know, on the front of my building, you know, or I'm gonna go for a ride across town where I know that people from my part of town are not really welcome in that side of town, you know. So in a way, again, I'm not, you know, I don't want to make a false comparison here. There's a different sort of, you know, derangement, if you will, to basically accept what's going on and say, you know what? Because I know a lot of the kids are saying, "Fuck it, I'm gonna die by the time I'm 20 anyway." So, you know, maybe it's not a derangement, but it's more of a psychosis. It's a mentality.
Yeah, it's just like growing up. It's just like growing. Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? I got these 2 kids. They're like 8, 10 years old. My son Jordan. Mm-hmm. He and James, Beefy's son. They got into a little riff with them, like they say a couple of weeks ago, right? So now these kids, I'm not going to say their names, of course, but the parents or whatever, I think. Anyway, long story short, they're just like roaming around the neighborhood. They got the cops called on them by my neighbors because I heard they were going around looking at people's windows, knocking on this kid's window to try to see if he was home. Mm. He couldn't come out. So what I'm trying to say is, like, so West Haven is the crime rate is low. So you got these kids. I saw them yesterday when I was taking my daughter to go shopping. One is on a bike, one is just walking around like nothing to do. So imagine all like these kids in the city. Not in a small town like West Haven, just walking around with nothing to do. So it's deeper than just like mental or just like you said, like
so
people
they're not being occupied.
Yeah, like the parents are not there. There's no after school programs. They don't have nothing to do. So they just roaming around at the age of 10 or even younger, and they get caught up with these gangs that swoop them in because they see the money, they see them doing fun stuff, They might have a dirt bike or something like, oh, I want to be like that dude, and boom, then you know these kids could commit a murder or do some crazy enough and still get out when they 15 or 18 because you can't charge a kid the same as an adult. So it's just like it's just sinister, but it happens, and I don't really think you got to be mentally deranged for that to happen. It's just that I grew up in a neighborhood. My parents weren't there. I mean, you might be smart enough to get in a little bit of trouble and then get yourself out because you see yourself either dead or in jail by the time you're 25, like they say. But I mean, for these, I mean, it's not really. I don't think it's really mental to get caught up in the gang.
No,
I'm not saying.
Yeah, no, I actually, now that you're saying it, well, I think you hit on the right. You hit the nail on the head though. Taking a step back here is if your parents aren't around, right? See, when I think back at my youth, I was lucky I had parents around, and my dad would, I didn't get to run the streets like that. You know what I mean? Or if I did, I had to do it before he got back home. You know what I mean? And my mother wouldn't tell on me. So I had a very limited window, to the streets. I was always, but now, summertime's about to come up. We're about to start seeing kids riding around on bikes till 11, 12 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Basically looking for ways to get into trouble. But you're right. And that's why last week we had that conversation on fatherhood, based on that song, the story of Adidon, right? Absentee, parents, right? How critical that is. That's the foundation of the whole thing. But yeah, if you're a kid who's born into that situation, and of course, whenever you're born into a situation whether you're in a single parent or no parent household, some people are being raised by their grandparents, right? You're just a kid. You basically don't know any better, right? I mean, you don't have the wherewithal, the tools to sit there and say, no, that's not right for me.
And I'm not saying that like these kids that shoot up schools and that dude that did the Vegas shooting, maybe they didn't have parents, to watch them or whatever. But some of them are getting these guns from parents. So it's like you're like premeditating what you're gonna do. Like I mean, it's premeditated murder in the hood, but a lot of that shit, like they just trying to. I mean, I don't want anybody to say I'm condoning gang violence. I'm not. I'm just saying it's different. It's like it's just like some kids is born into gang membership, like cousins and stuff, and some of them like the parents are not home because they honestly probably trying to work. Some of them might not be home because they're doing drugs or they whatever. But it's just that it's just different, and I think that if they did more criminal mental with these I don't know how to say the words I'm driving out. Checks on people's brains or whatever you want to call it, background checks, mental evaluations and stuff. That's like Obama was trying to do, and then everybody was acting like, "Oh, Obama's going to take your guns." No, you fools! Like he's just trying to make sure that you should have a gun. If you have a gun, like everybody shouldn't have a gun. Like everybody shouldn't be driving a car because some people really catch road rage, and that's when you see these people out here bugging out and getting in accidents. Some road rage is just like. Imagine driving every day and then you don't know somebody just loses it. Next thing you know, they trying to like that dude up there. And that was different in Toronto that ran over 10 people with a van and stuff.
Yeah, that was that incel, involuntarily celibate. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, no ass getting suspect.
Yeah, so that's like it's like people you don't know what's going on up in people's heads, but I'm just saying like when you said the gun violence in Chicago is bad, but it's not as bad as in other states. But they basically always point out Chicago because there's a bunch of young black men killing each other, and there's a lot of gang violence. And of course, they want to try to point the finger. Oh, but you don't get like that's why that used to kill me. Or you don't kill when you kill when a white cop kills a black man, but you don't kill when another. Like get the freak out of here, man. Like you act like there's not a lot of stuff going on in the hoods to prevent that. It's just that it's an ongoing problem, and it's not basically. Like it's like treating a disease. You got to jump on top of it. Like to jump on top of it will be like make some after school programs, get some good public schools, make situations where these kids are not out roaming the streets at 8, 10 years old. But you know what? They don't care about the kids. So then when they get caught up in jail, oh look at you in jail. Oh you ain't shit. And then but y'all could have had more programs to stop these kids from roaming around. It's not even when I grew up in the Bronx. It was nothing to do. If I didn't have Boy Scouts right across the street, yeah, I was a Boy Scout. So what? I know some hood cats that was Boy Scouts. But you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We didn't have no gym. We didn't have no YMCA. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have nothing. Like if it wasn't for the Boy Scouts, I might have been out there doing stupid stuff. But I was in the Boy Scouts for several years. And then, like, when I got to junior high school and high school, it was like, okay, you go to little after-school programs here and there, and you make it home how you made it home. Like, that's what my mother was concerned about, me making it home, because she couldn't, like, pick me up and stuff. She's at work, so I'm coming home on buses and trains, and, and then back then there was no cell phones. You just had to check in with it, however it was, check in from a pay phone, check in from a person's house. I'm okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just crazy, man. You just got to... I don't know. I just think that, the gun violence in Chicago topic is always going to be there until, like, I don't know. It just goes away, which I don't think it's ever going to go. It's just like New York. Like, I think New York is like, everybody talks about Rudy Giuliani cleaned it up. He just locked people up for, like, whatever. You could be littering, you getting locked up. Like they said, I think somebody said in the song, people popping wheelies. You're not supposed to have a dirt bike in New York City. They be chasing people on dirt bikes. Like, really? Like, you could do so much stuff up in the suburbs, but you hear this dude right here? Okay, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get too caught up. I'm sorry, man.
All right, yeah. Chantel's trying to get out of here early, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chantel. I got caught up. I got emotional. You still there? Oh, you still there?
Yeah, she's still here. Let's see here.
Sorry,
real quick. Because we got a hard stop. Real quick. Salute to Melquan, where we're all actually the sports bar's coming up next. So we got to drop off here soon. We got a few minutes though, because we all want to know the burning question. I'm sure everybody's thinking about where is LeBron going, right? Right? After the broom got brought out on, right? They got swept, right?
Nah, they won one game.
Oh, they won one. Okay, that was a
no,
semi.
No, I'm bugging. They did get swept.
No, they did get swept. Yeah.
They should have. Yeah, they got.
When I would tune into those games, I would look at the scores and I would see how the gameplay was going. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this shit, man.
Yo, man, you saw that meme when the first game with JR.
Oh, the Henny.
To the 3-point line, and then they had him going like to the liquor store.
That's when you
like, yo, where you going? Where you going?
Yo, that set the tone. That set the tone for the whole series. But anyways, we're gonna let Melquan handle that shit. But we're gonna end off real quick. I'm just gonna run through this. Of course, when it comes to voting, I'm always on it. But so let's go ahead and show this. All right, here recently, you guys might have heard of this, but the Supreme Court basically backed Ohio, an Ohio voter purge. Of course, Democrats are opposed to it. Let's see here. What the hell is going on? Looking at my software. All right, it's all good now. So basically, Ohio, they have a rule, and we could have a conversation about this rule, but basically what happens is when you don't vote for 2 years, they send you a letter, right? They tell you to confirm your address. If you don't vote 4 years in the 4 years after you receiving that letter or supposedly receiving that letter, you get kicked off of basically they delete you from they delete your voter registration. Now we've talked about this stuff before, and actually this lawsuit was brought against Ohio because there was a Navy veteran. He happened to be black, and he went to go vote, and they were like, "No, you're not registered. No, yeah, we deleted you, because you didn't answer this letter." Now I've talked about this before, maybe with maybe on this program, maybe before I forget. But the thing is with us minorities, we tend to move around a lot. I know when I was a kid, personally, I think we moved almost, I would say on average, every 4 years. So, and of course, every time you move, it gets, right, there's probably some piece of mail, someone who we were corresponding with who we forget to either give them our new address, or we don't do the address forwarding as we should do it. And basically, and some pieces of mail actually are, they will mark them, do not forward. Right, so depending on how sensitive the document is, they don't want it to be shuffled around to another address. So basically, it'll be returned back to the sender if someone at that domicile or whatever, that residence, says this is not me, take it back. So they won't forward the stuff. So anyways, this is how we get caught up in these type of schemes where it's like, oh, they'll send us a letter, and they know that we tend to move around a lot. Because whatever, we're looking for, we're trying to get in a better situation. We're trying to get a bigger home. Maybe we're trying to downsize. Maybe we're trying to get something that's more affordable. Whatever the reasons are. When you're a renter, there are multiple reasons why you would leave your rental property or whatnot. So this is the game that they're playing in Ohio, and now, the Supreme Court has basically said, no, this is all good. So I want to stand by here. All right. I don't want to show this yet. So right here, if we actually look at the bottom paragraph here, it says a 2016 Reuters analysis found roughly twice the rate of voter purging in Democratic-leaning neighborhoods in Ohio's 3 largest counties as in Republican-leaning neighborhoods. So if you actually look at the Supreme Court ruling, it went 5-4. 5 conservatives said, yes, absolutely, this voter purging is good. It helps us keep the rolls fresh and relevant, this, that, and the third. And then the 4 liberals basically said, no, this is bad. Because the liberals know, that minorities who are generally, and I say that, with air quotes, because we're starting to see some shifting, and that's fine, whatever. We don't have to be we're not monolithic. We don't have to be part of one gang. But we are seeing, so anyways, us minorities who are Democratic leaning, we tend to move around a lot. And we get caught up in that situation. So we're seeing, and when Ohio is doing this, they're knowing exactly what Reuters found, right? This is why they're doing it. They are trying to limit the numbers, limit Democratic voters. That's it, point blank. Ohio has a Republican governor. They know that the game that they're playing. Real quick, let's see here, and I love this right here. This is what I call projection. So here's the quote in the top paragraph here. Leftists opposed to election integrity suffered a big defeat today. Frankly, this and their other assaults on clean election measures suggest the organized left and their politician allies want to be able to steal elections if necessary. This was from a guy at Judicial Watch. He's the president, Tom Fenton. Now, Judicial Watch is basically a conservative freaking what they call themselves, a watchdog, but basically they sue people left and right. They're crooked as hell, in my opinion. But it's funny how he projects this on Democrats. Oh, they want to be able to steal elections if need be. Mind you, their president essentially stole an election just this last year. Not only that, before that, we had President Bush who stole the 2000 election. But yet we're the ones that need to be able to steal an election if need be. If I was, I'm a Democrat, I'm a minority. When I read this shit, I say, you're going to try to freaking disenfranchise me in that way? What am I going to do? I'm going to make sure every damn year that I'm still registered to vote, right? I would make it, because we all do our taxes, right? Oh, stand by real quick. Oh, what up? Salute, Cliff Bravo. Thanks for joining us. So as I get ready to wind down here, if I was a minority and I was a voter, first off, if I wasn't a voter, I'd be like, man, why are they always trying to fuck with us? This would like spark something inside of me. Like, what is it? Why are they always trying to disenfranchise me from voting? Why are they always trying to take maybe I should vote. Because obviously if they're trying to take that right away from me, it must be really important to them. So maybe it should be really important to me as well. And again, for those of us who are registered, we need to do our due diligence and make sure that we're not getting kicked off silently. Jizo?
Yeah, I got lost reception.
All right, I was getting ready to wind down here. I would make sure for damn sure that I was still registered to vote, so they won't try to play me when I show up to vote. And you know what? If I don't want to vote for 3 or 4 years, that's fine. But when I do vote, I expect to be on that voter registration. So I'm gonna just close off with that. I want to say thanks for everybody for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Salute to R&R Nation. Salute to Chantel 3.0, her and her people. We really appreciate you. Jizo, thanks for freaking.
Yeah,
Jadon, my bad, Jadon. That's Jadon's government. All right, we're finally getting to know who this cat really is. He finally.
They know me. They see me, man. They see the face, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no felonies and good with crime. You know what I'm saying?
Now I'm starting to wonder: is your face even your real face, man? You know what I'm saying? Is it really you? Chantel, you still with us, or did you fall asleep?
I'm still here.
Okay, I'm glad. It's all right if you got a little shut eye in there. You know what I'm saying? I know I got the voice that can make people go to sleep. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Stay tuned. Melquan Sports Bar. Get your drinks ready. You know what I'm saying? Get your cocktails or whatnot. We're gonna find out what's going on with LeBron. What's going on with football. I gotta get ready to go to work. Hey, peace.
Hey.